Sharpening a lathe, chisel, and a shopsmith. Hi, I'm Doug Reid, owner and operator of Papa Doug's Woodworking Academy. And just a couple of quick safety reminders. No neckties or loose clothing in the shop. Always remember to roll up your sleeves or wear short sleeve shirts. And never forget your safety glasses.
Why do you need to sharpen? Sharpen new chisels? When you first buy a chisel, surprise, it will come unsharpened. And guess what? What else? The chisels you just bought aren't shaped right either. Shaped? There's a saying, if you can't sharpen, you can't turn. Step 1. Set up your shopsmith to sharpen and reshape the lathe chisels.
Basically, to set up the Mark V for the sharpening operation, we need to install the 12-inch disc sander. We need to have 150 grit aluminum oxide paper. I highly recommend you have a separate disc for this, one for your metalwork, one for your woodworking. We want to make sure the speed is set down, and we want to have the table in place. Finally, the jig itself, which is the key to this operation, is put into the miter gauge slot, slid as far forward as we can, and locked into position. And I'll discuss the angle setting here in just a moment.
Step 2. Set up the sharpening guide to sharpen the lathe chisels.
Let's talk for a moment about setting up the sharpening guide itself. This guide is designed to sharpen a number of different chisels. The section here is for sharpening the gouge. This is for the skew in this area. This is for the parting tool, and this side is for the 1/2-inch scraper. Now, it's fairly easy to set this up. However, you want to pay attention to the numbers here in the middle. There's a 0, there's numbers to the right of 0, and there's numbers to the left of 0. We will only be using the numbers to the left of 0. And for each chisel, I will give you the right angle that you want to use to resharpen your chisels. I probably should mention that in this process, we're also reshaping the chisels. In other words, the original shape on these chisels is not the best one for turners. So we will reshape them, same process, we'll be sharpening them. That's it.
Step 3. How to set up the angles for each lathe chisel.
The angles that I'm going to recommend to you, and I want to show you the differences here. This is the original grind angle that you find in your chisels, and you'll see that it's fairly short and blunt. You can work with this if it's just resharpened, but there's a much better angle that I think you'll find will work better for almost anyone. This is done at a 13-degree angle. And when I say 13 degrees, it's really not degrees of anything. It simply refers to the numbers on the guide here. And the way we want to set this up, all the numbers we will be using will be to the left of 0 from my point of view. So we have a 0 here, and I'm going to set this one at a 13 degree to the left of 0 setting. A little tip for you as you're doing this, if you like these angles, and certainly you feel free to play with those a little bit, what I like to do, once I find an angle that I really like, I will go ahead and write that right on the handle, so I don't have to go back and find my notes or try to remember that. But the angle, by setting this to the 13 degrees, it goes into the miter gauge slot, it locks down. We're going to put it right up into the little L-shaped section here, that's what we use for the gouges, and bring it right up to the disc. Once we've done that, we're going to rotate it just slowly. And in the original grinding, we're taking off a lot of metal, and the chisels will tend to get hot, so we want to keep a little bit of ice water nearby to quench the chisels to keep those cool. So the gouge goes at 13. I also set my skew chisel at that same angle. It's just convenient and it seems to work well. So on my skew chisel, I use the little notch back here. I set it in the long point up on the right hand side, again from my point of view. Flip it over, do the long point down on the left hand wall, and regrind the chisels. When we're first doing this, we're going to produce multiple bevels on there, which we don't want to have, so we have to continue to grind until we have one continuous flat bevel on the chisel. On the parting tool, we're going to set this to 10 degrees, again to the left of 0. There's a little slot right here just for this purpose. We'll bring it in, touch it up against the disc sander on one side, flip it over, do it on the other side, continue to grind that until we have that one continuous bevel, just like we talked about. Quench it in your water, keep it cool, and that's it. This is the end of part 1. To see part 2 of how to sharpen lathe chisels on a Shopsmith, please click on the link below. In that part, you will see how to actually sharpen the chisels, you'll see how to handle the scrapers, and it'll have some more valuable information. I'm Doug Reid. Thanks for watching.